I put that bed together. That bed was way easier than the first one. Way easier.
Now, maybe you've had more experience now.
Yeah, that could be it. But also didn't have annoying, weird-headed screws. Like those Allen keys, great and all, but now that I have that device screwdriver that has all the different parts on it, so I could just do it that way. Yeah, I wanted to put it just sucks to 6 inches lower. But when I'm laying in bed watching my shows, I feel like I'm at a movie theater, so that's pretty nice. I'm looking up, I'm like, ooh, the screen is so big. Yeah, really.
Roll out of bed right onto the floor.
That I don't like, though. I actually don't like the feeling of, this is going to sound so old. Like I'm 80 years old. I don't like having to bend my knees to get up.
Like, no, that's true. That is tough.
Yeah, I
agree.
Yeah, it's lower than normal, but like my knee, like, I have to do the turtle mount. I roll out on the floor.
Oh my god! You gotta send me a picture of how. Send me a picture of the legs of the bed. So
yeah, sure. I'll show you. It's significantly shorter than the last one. Well, it doesn't matter that much. I don't know how you would fix it because the middle part would be too low if I put things on the sides. But
well, then you put it under the middle too.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to, but there's no middle. So the headboard side and the middle have a stand, but the bottom of the bed does not.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's not that big of a deal. I'd go higher. I'd even go up 9 inches. You know, I want to be above. I want to feel like I'm floating when I'm sleeping.
You got the waterbed then.
Yeah, like the Exorcist, floating above the bed. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, it was pretty easy. I finished it after stream on Thursday, so
that's good.
Just plowed through it. Took me about an hour. You know, I sweat too much. I was sweating after building that bed. I was like, sweat stains.
Nice.
Yeah, sweat.
It's called hard work.
Yeah, I was like, this is what labor is.
It's called labor. Where's my AI to put my bed together?
Yeah, why? Yeah, where are these damn robots? I was actually going into news. Yeah, going through not news that didn't make it this week. Did you see is it Jiang or whatever, their robot AI?
No.
Oh my god. I thought it was a person in a suit, how this thing walked, and it was fully robotic. I was like, oh my god.
Is this the one who was dancing with Elon Musk on the stage?
No, that was Elon's. I don't know that one. No, this is a higher end robot that I really thought that it was a person in a suit and they were trying to like get away with it. But then they undid it and I was like, whoa, this thing, you could see all the parts. You're like, whoa, this is scary.
Yeah.
So, we're closer and closer. I would love to see statistically what percentage of podcasts on the internet talk about AI every episode, because we're becoming one of those very, very quickly. But yeah, I was about to make a transition in New York, but what were you saying?
I was transitioning to the AI, open AI, the big fail.
Oh, you want to go with that one? You want to start with that?
Too big to fail. Well, you mentioned AI. Yeah, this isn't really about AI. It's about AI financing. And you and I were talking about this during the week. And so Sarah Fryer from OpenAI suggested that we need a backstop financing for all these data centers, because they all want to go nuclear now.
Yeah.
So just in case we don't make money, we're too big to fail. So we need the government and some private companies to back us up. Well, Altman had to come out and backpedal on that one pretty fast. He said that, no, we don't need the government subsidizing it. We'll either sink or fail.
Yeah.
We'll either rise or fail. And just like any other business. Will it be true? I don't know. But obviously she hit a nerve with that one. With the American people were like, no freaking way are we going to bail out AI companies if they don't succeed.
Did you see him get subpoenaed on stage? Did you watch that video?
I heard about it.
Yeah.
I didn't watch
Some guy just watched. It was subpoenas are weird because it's like, hey, do you really have to walk up to the stage and be like, here's your subpoena when he's mid-speech? It's like divorce papers. You ever see those where they
well, people sometimes dodge it, so you have to try and catch the person off guard when they don't expect it.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
But that was obviously done for theatrics.
Yeah, I think that guy wanted his 15 seconds of fame or whatever, but hands him the piece of paper on stage, and Sam Altman's like, what is this? Because it was a court subpoena for, I think, investigation by the U.S. does it. It's not.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of weird information on that one, but it's just very strange.
Yeah, I don't know what it's related to, but could be anything with Sam Altman.
Yeah.
Anything the government wants to know.
So what he's saying that he doesn't want to use government funding?
Well, no, he's saying don't say that. We're a $4 trillion business, and you can't be saying, "Oh, we're too big to fail," and the federal government should bail us out, along with other private entities and banks, because, like we were talking about, where's my piece of it? You use my tax dollars for grants for all these tech companies. What does the American people get out of it?
Yeah.
Zippo, nothing. We get to pay for these services. Same thing with pharmaceutical drugs. They develop all these wonderful drugs, and those of us paying tax to support it tend to be the ones who don't get the benefit of these drugs,
Right.
but we have to pay full price for them. So, we're getting screwed coming and going. And then when she makes a stupid comment by a $1 trillion company, multi-trillion-dollar company, yeah, we're going to need, in case, as if they call it a backstop, in case something happens, you guys get to bail us out. Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think OpenAI is a multi-trillion-dollar company.
I don't know. It's all these tech billionaires,
Yeah, they're definitely worth a lot, but started up with a $500 billion valuation, so $500 billion. It'll probably hit $1 trillion. I mean, still nothing to. You can write home about that one, as they say. But OpenAI, again, you and I had the debate on the phone, and I don't want to rehash it, but I do feel like between NVIDIA, OpenAI, I think there's got to be something, because they will need the money eventually. But the question is, how much tax dollars should they get? Like, I do kind of have the mindset of, I get your point, but I still have the mindset of, we still have to beat China in the AI race. If it means throwing money at greedy people that are going to get the job done and have showed that they're going to get the job done, and you're paying them to potentially stay in America, then I say it might be worth throwing the money at them.
Hey, I'm not against investing in these companies, but like Goldman Sachs and Merrill Lynch and all these other private companies that get something in return. The American taxpayer should get something in return when it starts to make money. That's all I'm saying.
Well, when you invest in a 401k and stuff, though, and a Roth IRA, isn't it technically the bank's job to invest that money for you? Isn't that kind of the point of the 401k?
Well, it depends on where you have that 401k. If you have it in a mutual fund, they may decide to, usually it's public service.
Right.
Public services money they have in these big funds, and they invest in certain things. That's fine. That's not government money per se.
Mm-hmm.
That's earmarked for individuals. This is back in 2008, when all these banks had to get all this money because they were, quote unquote, too big to fail. So the federal government pumped all this cash into all these banks that made very bad loans that went under because they were greedy and the mortgage-backed security business was a mess.
Watching my mom struggle through sentences after being sick.
Sorry, I still have a cold.
Stay together. Be professional.
Anyhow, that was just dumping money, and we personally knew some people who made a lot of money at a bank, didn't seem to struggle when the bank failed, and wound up going to inaugural balls afterwards. Yeah. And our tax dollars went to bail these banks out. So I'm not one who says too big to fail. I think it's right. America. You fail, you're done. To your point, I don't expect these to fail, right?
Right.
I'm sure they'll do quite well. They might even bring the cost down if they're all competitive because of capitalism. But I'm sick and tired of these companies bolstering their stock and their investments using taxpayer money with nothing in return for the taxpayer.
Right. Yeah. I do not disagree. It sucks because, as I was saying before, we're talking about AI a lot, but it truly is probably the biggest topic in the world right now. Because I do feel like it is truly a race for who's going to be number one.
Can I just give you a fact here, though?
Go ahead.
MIT found that 95% of organizations that tried to implement OpenAI type tech got zero return. Wow. Nothing out of it. 80% of AI implementations fail.
Yeah,
80%.
but I think the difference is the only difference I would say is the technology that these guys are doing is to more so advance the world, whereas other companies who are using AI are just trying to advance their own companies. So, like for
Right, but
instance,
you're asking people to support something that we've seen Zippo out of. And even though I'll say, oh, this is going to be great. We just need some more time and some more money. We're going to make it huge. It's going to be big. It's going to be all these things.
fair.
That may be true. But so far, the history is not showing us
Jeez.
that.
Agreed. It will, but well, my only pushback would be when you look at how successful AI companies are in the sense of not financials, but the stuff that they're doing. So, like, I mean, we literally have robots now that look human. Like, those are the kind of advancements I mean. Whereas, like, Snapchat, for instance, has the most useless AI I've ever seen in my life. It's basically just a shitty Siri. It does nothing for you. So that's why if you don't implement it right, or you're just using it to push your own company or benefit your own company.
Well, but I think we live in a capitalist society, which I like. Competition creates ingenuity and it creates a marketplace. So to your point, these useless companies that create this useless AI or things that aren't that great,
Well,
they're not going to do well. Why am I
yeah.
bolstering them?
Let me say that a little differently for you, because I think you kind of nailed it. Just said it a little bit. I think it's established companies that do well are like, let's add an AI, and it just does nothing to propel them forward. Like Snapchat doesn't need an AI. There's no
Right.
point. I think it's called My AI. I've never used it. It's terrible. It just annoys you. So that's what I mean. Everyone feels like they have to have an AI now, which from a marketing standpoint and maybe trying to keep the company up to date, maybe then AI makes sense. But when it actually comes to the use case for the AI, it's kind of garbage. It's not very good. So
Well,
that's kind of what I
like
mean.
they're trying to market this whole idea that you have to have AI. You have to have something.
Yeah.
How could you get through your day without some sort of AI? Guess what? I get through my day just fine without AI. I can write a letter. I don't need help. I can read a book. I don't need help.
Right.
Uh, it's this mindset for the younger generation of it's like the iPhone or a cell phone. You can't get through your day without one. They have successfully convinced people, and partially true, you can no longer get through your day without some sort of technology strapped to your ass all day long.
I think that's
Well,
true. I mean, yeah, you can make the argument that AI has taken over already when the iPhone came out. So that's kind of my mindset, is that AI is just going to essentially be an extension of your phone before it becomes like part of us. That's just the next
well,
phase.
outside of the workplace, I mean, I get workplace. They're demanding you have it as part of your job. Like you need a phone for work, you need a computer for work. Um, can you get through your day without it? You absolutely can. They've just convinced you that you can't.
Yeah.
Maybe not your work day, but
Well, let me
people
tell
go
you,
on holiday and they shut their phones off.
I
You
think
can do it.
one of the better decisions that I've definitely made is I kept my old phone when I got my new one. So I put
Yeah.
all my social media stuff on the old phone, so I don't have it on the new phone. I have to say it's pretty nice to not have 1,000 notifications a day. It's nice to
Yeah.
just only have my text messages, and then that's literally it on a
Right.
phone. But I'll tell you this, I'll turn into grandma a little bit, because now on my main phone, the non-social media phone, I've been doing a lot of crosswords. I like the crossword
Ah.
puzzles now. So even though some of them I'm like, this is very
Well,
difficult.
interesting fact you often hear about these individuals in Silicon Valley or in tech centers. Their kids go to schools where they're not allowed to have phones
Right.
all day. So keep that in mind. I don't know if that's still true, but that was the comments that were made 5, 10 years ago because they know it's thinking for you, it's doing the work for you. It's not the best
Yeah.
environment socially, academically, et cetera, et cetera. So what the hell are we doing? And now they want to add more. Oh, you gotta have AI. You gotta put that
Yeah.
AI on your phone. Can't get through your day without it. You can't go to college without AI. Forget it. You can't get through your day without it.
Yeah.
So they're starting that drumbeat now with the AI.
Well,
Okay, do I need it for everything?
Elon on Rogan said it best. I completely agree with him, which is there was a point in time where they said these calculators going to take over jobs, and they kind of did, in the sense of now you really don't have to do, like, accounting is basically shot. Like, everyone talks about how coding is going to go first, but I think accounting is going to be kind of the first thing to go with AI, because most of those formulas these AIs just do now. So that's why when it comes to counting dollars, which is what every company is trying to do essentially, that's going to probably be the first thing AI takes over. Then it's going to go after the coding. So I don't know. I think this is what I mean. It just becomes extensions in a sense.
Right.
So, yeah.
But back to our point, that's fine. Market it all you want to, sell it to as many people as you want to, make a profit, and pay your stockholders. We, the American people, being one of them, if you want some of our tax dollars.
Right.
But I'm tired of the best is when we fund these, Obama funded these companies for solar and they went under.
Oh, yeah.
They went
Solar.
bankrupt.
Listen, I don't know why. Like, if you look at the studies on solar energy, like, I'm surprised even the greenhouse people weren't like, okay, how are we going to cover up this lie? Like, solar panels are like the worst thing for. They're just not good for. They're not efficient at all between solar, windmill, and all those. They're getting better, but there's no leaps and bounds in that. Like, you can look at the stat. Yeah,
I'm telling you.
Yeah, you can look at the
Follow
stats,
money.
and it's just not good.
Yeah, it was these companies that I still say follow the money. I'm sure get a really good forensic audit in there. I want to see where all the money goes. I bet you they're all fronts.
Yeah, probably. But speaking of fronts and liars, Washington Post editorial says Mindani drops the mask after election win, offers seething victory speech. Did you see this?
I saw portions of it. Yes.
All right. Well, first off, he was elected on Monday, I think it was now. Right? Tuesday.
Election day. Yes.
So, okay, first off, basically New York shot. I mean, this was the one thing you didn't want. The socialist / communist guy coming in. Now, how does a guy like this get elected? And I had to think about it, and I was like, oh, that's right. New York City's so bad and so unaffordable that my generation goes, I guess we'll vote for him because I can't afford the cost of, or standard of living. So if he brings it down, then I'll just vote for him. I think that's kind of the mindset of my generation a little bit. But I just thought, I was just thinking about this, and I was like, well, go ahead. You tell me what your thoughts are on how a guy like this gets elected before we break this down.
Didn't we talk about the I guess not. We talked about it before the election.
We talked about it on the phone. I don't remember. We might have talked about it a little bit on the live podcast.
He wasn't elected. I mean, his base is your young, I think up to 35 or 40-year-olds who basically have created a lifestyle for themselves that they think they are entitled to. And as rent prices went up, they couldn't afford it anymore on their $183,000 a year salary. Well, that's not right. And along came a guy who said, the government will take care of it. We'll subsidize it. We'll subsidize your daycare. We'll subsidize your busing. We will subsidize your housing. We'll bring the cost down. And a lot of these people who, by the way, made their money from capitalist companies like the Goldman Sachs and the financial banks and whatnot, right?
Right.
They make a chunk of money, but it's still not good enough. They're entitled to a certain lifestyle. They can't afford it. Therefore, it's a problem. The government needs to step in. And part of his speech was, there is no problem the government cannot solve. That's the antithesis of what you want. You don't want the government solving your problem.
Right.
But as you know, that younger generation, I'll say it, and I'm sure our parents said it about me. You're all soft.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
If you don't have daddy taking care of you, right?
Which is true.
And I use that term like,
Dad.
oh, car insurance is so expensive. Yeah, because daddy used to pay it.
Right.
Oh, rent is so expensive. Well, then move to a one-bedroom apartment. I can't live in a one-bedroom.
Yeah.
I've got 2 kids. I have to have a 3-bedroom apartment. It has to be in Brooklyn. It has to have a view. Okay, I can't afford it. Daddy will subsidize it, right?
Right.
It's the same thing with the feminist movement. They sold this women these lies. They all think they're so independent and I could do it. I don't need a man. Okay, but I need the government paying my birth control. I need the government subsidizing daycare. I need 6 months maternity because God knows 6 weeks isn't enough because I don't have a husband to pick up the slack, right? Oh, aren't you just the brave, conquering woman? Okay, but you're fine with taking subsidies from the government.
Yeah.
It's the same mentality, right?
Yeah.
So I look at these individuals and I say, you're fools.
Yeah. New York is, I think I give it 6 months before New York City really falls apart. But even he said it. So the reason I bring up this article is for those of you that don't know, and they've kind of swept this under the rug a little bit. He does his victory speech basically in a commercial. And he goes, all that stuff that I promised you guys, just so you know, we can't afford it. So please start donating. I need your money. And it's like, hold on. So wait, we are paying for this? It's like he lied his way to the top, got elected, and now he's saying, listen, I know I said all this stuff. Great. Cool. But now I need you guys to pay for it. So I don't know if you saw this, but before he got elected, 1 million people said that they did a poll. About 1 million New Yorkers said that they would move out if he got elected. And again, I don't know how true that is. What are the odds 1 million people move out? But I mean, you're going to lose that 1% that he desperately needs, right?
Well, and there's a statistic that, who actually voted for him. The people who have lived in the city the longest voted for Cuomo.
Yeah.
Because we've done this dance before. They remember Mayor Lindsay, the last guy who got 1 million votes, who drove the city into the ground to the point where they had to pass all these laws to make sure it doesn't happen again in New York State and New York City. A lot of the stuff he promised, which this shows you the intelligence of these people who voted for him, right? College educated, and I put college in quotes, college educated, young,
the art school kids.
Right. Okay. He can't get financing for busing and whatnot without approval from the state.
Yeah, and the state can't approve it.
Yeah, that's not to say New York State isn't going to work with him or whatever, because it's a Democratic governor. But Elise Stefanik just threw her hat in the ring for the governorship of New York State. Good luck to him if she wins, right?
Yeah, he's not going to get anything. Funding. Yeah, and
he has to go to Kathy Hochul now for any funding, as well as the state legislature for New York City or for certain things like transportation and whatnot.
Yeah.
And they may tell him, pound salt. We're not funding this. It's not fair to the rest of the state. If I'm a representative from upstate New York or from Long Island, we don't want to fund this stuff. And there's legislation that's now being brought in the federal House of Representatives, I believe it is, basically saying no federal funds for New York City. And the representative Melatanakis, I can't say her name. She's up in arms. She's the only Republican from New York City representing that area because it's all blue. And she's saying, you can't punish everybody over this guy. Well, guess what? We can if we pass this rule.
Yeah.
And you won't get any federal dollars.
Which, again, it just doesn't make sense because he promised the big thing he promised was no police, which is a great idea in New York City, and a government-funded grocery stores. Okay. Just think about the logic there. Oh my God, that sounds great. Then take 5 more seconds and go, oh wait, so everyone's just going to storm this place and take everything off the shelves and then leave. They're just going to stockpile. And you're not going to be able to regulate that. So it's like, again, I think I said this on the live podcast. One thing I appreciate about Democrats is they think with their hearts, but then the further, like when you start taking the plan and going, how long can we do this for? You go, oh, they didn't use their heads on this one. They didn't think towards the end, like the end goal.
It's not even that, Chris. They keep, think of it, the morons in New York City. Oh, this is it's time for a new beginning or new ideas, new this, new that.
Stupid.
Socialism is as old as the hills.
Yeah, never worked.
Never works. And I have my article
just
with
look at Argentina. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried
perfect example. Yeah. Milieu just recently got reelected, and they were trying everything to bring him down. But
so for those of you that don't know who he is, if you remember, he's kind of a crazy guy, but he's a Republican and he's got a lot of the same ideas as Trump. Like big, I don't know what his whole conservative.
He's not a Republican. He's from Argentina.
Right. He's conservative. He's very. I don't even know how to describe this guy. I almost kind of want to say a lunatic with the chainsaw and stuff. Right?
No, I mean he's flamboyant. He's direct.
Yeah.
And he was willing to, and he said it's going to be hard. It's going to be austere measures.
Right. Kind of the opposite of what a politician should be, right? Kind of goes against the grain, which again, Trump does too, which I think is kind of, people are starting to see all over the world what happens when you have someone who's not a politician which seems to be pretty good so far. But yeah. So
it's a different style, but to his credit, he's gotten, and we would think this is obscene, Their inflation rate is now at 32%, which sounds, dire to us. But he brought it down from 200%
Yeah.
down to 32%. Okay. And he did it by very strict, and they mocked him and they said he'll never get reelected and blah, blah, blah. But he is improving, hasn't done it yet, but he's improving the lives of Argentinians because socialism never works. It just creates huge inflation. The dollar has no meaning. You mark my words. They will have for the media a fully stocked, set up city food store that nobody uses. So every time the media goes in, they can have a fully stocked.
Oh,
and
yeah.
say, look, it's working so well. And then a couple people on the street are going to start complaining. No, I can't get bread. I can't get this. I can't get that.
Everything's
I
out.
wind up having to go to the other stores.
You have to wake up at 4 a.m. to get your food. Otherwise, it's all gone by 5. So,
right. And they'll call those people Islamophobic because they don't like men.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Again, I truly believe that 2026 is going to be the year of the downfall of New York City. I don't want to see it, but it's not going to be good. But on the flip side of that, I don't think anything that he ran for is going to get passed. And I think he knows that. I think he kind of...
What's interesting, somebody said to me, oh, now they're just going to let all the prisoners go. I said, well, they do that now.
Yeah, really. Yeah, so, the no bail releases or whatever. Right, you're going to see
police officers not even showing up for work.
Yep.
If they do, they're just going to sit in the patrol car because they're just a sitting target.
Yep.
You'll see the transit system become a homeless shelter. So now all these people from Brooklyn, they can't possibly ride this train. So we'll need a government subsidy so they can have Ubers everywhere. And the money will run out.
Yeah, they got nothing.
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Plus, when all these people do actually leave, and I believe they've already started, by the way, companies are already leaving.
Oh, yeah, they have to.
That is a big chunk of your tax base, and that affects people like Kathy Hochul and others in the state who now are going to scramble when you start losing the industry, the big businesses.
How long until, what's the under over? I want to predict it on the podcast right now. On podcast 160. How long, how many months, I'm not even going to say years, how many months till he demands funding from Trump? How many months?
Well, remember, we got a midterm election coming up in 2026. That started on Wednesday. So, everything's going to be very carefully crafted. He can't ask for anything right now because thanks to them, we're in a shutdown. There's no government money for anybody.
I'm going to say 6 months. Mark it. I'm going to say 6 months. He's going to say, we can't afford this. White House, please send money. Because Hochul's not going to help.
Well, it's 6 months from when? He doesn't start till January,
6 months from 6 months from when he's in, is what I mean.
Yeah, so January is when he comes in. And by then there'll be a lot of scrambling going on. Listen, I don't like this. And in hindsight, I believe the 2020 election was stolen. I know everyone goes up in arms. I think more and more evidence comes out about that. I believe that socialism doesn't work and it's a nightmare. Sometimes these bad things have to happen so people can wake up. What's going on. And I think if for nothing else, I hope it's a real wake-up call. You're not going to convince a lot of these really just over-the-top people who just can't see the forest through the trees. But there might be enough people who said, wow, this guy really sold us a bunch of goods.
Yeah.
Never happened, and the city's a mess, and I can't even walk the streets, et cetera, et cetera. Well, you know what? Ironically, and here's something else. We talked about the election. All the stuff that the Democrats and Republicans were campaigning on, right? We got to bring the cost down. I had a Democratic governor here in New Jersey for 8 years now. I need another one to come in and bring his costs down. How freaking stupid is that, right? They were acting like it was Republican here. Same thing in New York. It's the things are going to get worse, and they're going to complain, right? But meanwhile, he was fighting to save a city from another Democratic mayor.
Right.
The only difference was Virginia was Republican, or somewhat Republican. But that was the other lesson. And I heard somebody else say, funny line, wow, it's so shocking. A Democrat became mayor of New York City. A Democrat became the governor of New Jersey.
What was the last Republican? Was it Giuliani?
I believe so, yeah.
Wow.
Bloomberg was independent. I think he was an independent. But
really?
Yeah.
Speaking of election fraud and stuff, BBC to apologize for Dr. Trump's speech. this is a bigger deal than people are making it, right?
I know.
This is arguably what caused the J6 movement, right? So I remember back when I was in New Jersey, I would debate with my Democratic friend, my friend John, if you're watching, and he would always say exactly what BBC said. And I was like, I've never seen this footage. And if you remember, it was like impossible to find the footage. Then it turns out BBC, and they did a side-by-side comparison of what the actual speech was and what BBC edited it to be. You could make the argument that BBC is what caused January 6th. Like it's really bad. Did you see the side-by-side or no?
No, I have seen it. I saw it back in, like on January 7th when they were
When it
screaming
happened,
about, and everybody was lying. And I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. That's not what the man said. Here's the speech.
Yeah.
But remember, derangement syndrome, media doesn't want to hear it. They do not want to hear it. People don't want to hear it. No, BBC would never lie. They lie all the time. They doctor stuff all the time. Here's another example of it, right? When are we going to learn? 60 Minutes screwed around, right? Stephanopoulos, I believe, Trump sued him. And still people are like, oh, no, it's not possible. They would never lie.
Yeah.
Wake up.
I want to see if I can find it, the side-by-side for
Do you
our
know they
viewers.
have a potential, it's being investigated. It's not definite yet. The person who did cause January 6th, meaning the reason why they shut down the debate on the election for 2020 was because there were pipe bombs that were found around the city. Well, the one that was dropped at the DNC, stories were going back and forth about it. Why couldn't they find somebody? How come the FBI couldn't figure this out? They lost camera footage. Remember, there's this whole big thing about it. The person they are interviewing, or a person of interest right now, she's a Metropolitan Police officer, okay? Who later joined the CIA. And apparently, allegedly, the FBI knew about it. Anyhow, go ahead.
Really? I'm trying to find this thing. I know let's see if I can, it's probably on Twitter. Just because it's pretty important. It's like, I'm trying to find the side-by-side. Of course, it's already off the internet. They spliced an hour later into this.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
This is the one that they did.
I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell. We're going to walk down.
This is the original.
To the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
I mean, that's a pretty big. You can argue BBC started or caused J6.
Well, they weren't the only one to do it.
Right.
MSNBC.
Well, they
did the same thing
probably,
that did.
yeah, but
CNN
they
did the same
probably,
thing.
BBC is the biggest, most viewed. They did a poll on this, which I was kind of surprised. But BBC,
Well, they're global.
Yeah, BBC is the one that shared the video. Like they had the original to the edited version to give to other news outlets. So you can argue that they caused, that they're the real enemy. Yeah. They're the real enemy. But yeah, I just thought that was crazy.
That's the power of the media. And now people can understand why Trump has been beating this drum since 2016. They lie. The media lies. The media is corrupt. Yeah. And he wasn't wrong. And we saw it in real time. Another thing that this man, whether you like him or not, everybody mocked him. Oh, if it says the media's lies, it lies, it lies. And he's right. Yeah. Especially when it comes to him.
Yeah. So, I think we're good on political news. We pretty much finished all that. So, Meta reportedly projected 10% of 2024 sales came from scam fraud ads.
Yeah.
This is pretty big. Hey, they got to figure out how to pay that, what was it, $600 billion they said they were going to give to Trump. Right? Yeah. To figure it out somehow.
So that 10% represent about $16 billion out of their $164.5 billion sales revenue that they take in. But per Reuters, I guess they did a research into it. Meta shows approximately $15 billion worth, I think it is, each day. Well, no, I'm not sure if it's dollars.
That can't be right.
15 billion of these fraudulent ads each day.
Meta shows users an estimated 15 billion of these higher scams a day. Okay, I see. Yeah. So each day, Meta so that's how many ads are put out. That's kind of a
Right.
weird way of putting that, but
Yeah. But their point is they're not necessarily unaware of it. They know these ads are going out. They're just trying to figure out,
yeah,
how to minimize the damage of
right.
fraudulent ads.
Well,
Which
I think
again, like you can't put that on TV, but yet you could do this on social media. It's
yeah,
not. It's wrong.
but here's how that probably works. Uh, Facebook doesn't decide the ad, so someone comes in and says, "We have a company will pay this much amount of money." Like whenever on TikTok, you like technically, I as a person can pay to have my videos come up as an advertisement. Like you can advertise yourself on YouTube. I think what a lot of these companies do, and this kind of goes back to what, remember when they were accusing those Republican podcasters of being owned by Russia because they were getting paid out
Yeah.
by like an entity?
Yeah.
I think it's
I
kind of
know
the
that.
same concept in the sense of Facebook gets, like, I go into an app that Facebook has. I pay as Pancake 101 LLC, what is it, like $100 or whatever, for Facebook to promote my stuff as an ad. It's not like someone at YouTube is actually checking it, or at YouTube, sorry,
Right.
at Facebook is checking it. I'm sure they're supposed to, and obviously you have some shit workers who are probably like, whatever, just throw it through. But I think that's why I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt. But when you have, like, when I hear 15 billion ads, I go, if that's 15 billion ads, which sounds like a lot of fraudulent stuff, how many ads aren't fraudulent? 900 billion, right? So it's tough to pull out 15 billion and say these are fraudulent. Like, I have to know what makes it fraudulent.
Well, am I incented to do that when I'm making 16.5 billion in sales from it?
Well,
Where's my incentive?
It's not. It's probably, that's an estimated 10%. Like, think of how much they're making based on. Well, I guess based on the math, it would be 15. What's 100? 150 billion on good ads.
165 billion.
165 billion on good ads.
Yeah, 164.5 billion.
So when
is
you see the
total
50,
net revenue.
So, but it's not like they go. It's not like someone's sitting there and going, "We made." I don't think anyone is sitting there going, "Guys, see these fraudulent ads? We just made an extra 16 billion." I think they see that and go, "Oh shit, we somehow made 16 billion off these ads that are fraudulent." Do you see what I'm
Oh,
saying?
you are so naive.
Okay. Yes, mother, the one that has to freaking do this shit. But
I'm telling you, it's just, I understand what you're saying, and that's very benevolent of you. But keep in mind, TV stations can't do that. They could get sued. You can't promote fraud on television, but yet social media can pump this in and make money on it.
Right. It depends on the fraud. But also, here's the difference. The amount of money you have to pay to be on a news channel advertisement is significantly more than me putting into TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, whatever. So that's why so many people do it, right?
No, the point is you don't do it because it defrauds the customer watching the TV channel. They don't allow it because it's fraudulent information.
Right, but
You
it's not
can't
as
promote a
much
product
to,
that's
but it's
fraudulent.
not as much to sieve through versus people promoting stuff on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Like the pool size
Sure,
is
I
huge.
get what you're saying. The volume is just that much bigger. But you know what? Tough luck. And by the way, they're making $16 billion on it.
Right, which is why
I'm
they
not gonna
have
make an issue of it.
which is why they have a bot that does it for them. Right? It's
That's
not
a hell of a job, isn't it?
Yeah, well, like I'm sure the news organizations have people that call in, say we want to do this, or emails that do, we want to advertise this, we want to do that. Here's $1 million for a banner at the bottom. TikTok, Facebook, all that, they don't work that way. It's just, it's literally just, what's your credit card number? Throw it in, whatever it is, we'll promote it for 24 hours. It just goes through a bot. So that's why it's tough to compare the fraud on a news channel to the fraud on a social media because the size is just way different.
But that's not my problem. Fraud is fraud, and it's not about the money. The reason why you could do that on TV. Go ahead, just run any ad. Buyer beware. If it's fraud, it's fraud. But they don't allow that. There are laws and things when you sign up contractually. You can't just pump out fraudulent. You can't sell snake oil. You could be liable. That's not happening because of the nature of, YouTube or whatever.
But what I mean,
they're making money on it. They don't need to be bought. They're funding. I'm sure a lot of TV stations would love to make the money. NBC, ABC, 10% of all the fraud. But that's not an option for them because they'd be liable if that was out there.
Sure, but still the problem is it's not that they're selling snake oil, right? It's not that the ad says this is snake oil, right? It's going to say free puppies in your area or whatever. And then you click on it and it takes you to a website that's not puppies, right?
Right.
When they sell it when they put it through the bot app of TikTok, Facebook, whatever, it doesn't say, it siphons through whatever the advertisement is, not what the link is, right?
Right.
So that's what I'm trying to say. You'd have to have one hell of a team to go through that many people doing advertising. How much money do you think people put in advertisements a day on Facebook?
Well, gee, I don't know, but I'm sure they want the government to subsidize their AI bot that can do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
All these geniuses with their AI. You know what? Not my problem. Figure out how you're going to fix that. That's your product.
That goes
billions of dollars on it, if that's the case. But then don't naively tell me, well, we have no way of figuring that out. Bullshit. They can figure it out. The geniuses in Silicon Valley, if they really want to.
Yeah.
I'm not going to push to figure it out. I'm making $16 billion in sales a year on it.
Yeah.
What do I care?
I don't know how Meta works in the sense of I don't know if their bot, I think the AIs that they get government funding for is their Meta glasses, their physical products. The bot that they've had for Facebook,
which they shouldn't, by the way.
Sure, I agree. But the bots that they use for Facebook, I think are just kind of the ones that I was saying with Snapchat, just completely useless. So,
well, I'm being somewhat facetious. Everyone's telling about the great things that AI can do. Well, then don't sit there and tell me in the next breath, oh, I can't get rid of these ads that are giving me $16 billion a year in revenue. Right. Do you know how many companies would kill for $16 billion in total revenue? This is just a portion of their revenue.
Right. Yeah. No, agreed. This is 10%, which is crazy. Yeah. And that's just from Facebook ads. It doesn't even talk about the stuff they make from Meta and all that. But let's see. What else do we have? Do we want to go right into... Well, I guess we could do your Google one. Google makes first play to store changes after losing Epic Games antitrust case. Ooh, that's actually an interesting article. So this is for those of you that don't know, this was the Epic Apple lawsuit, right?
Yes.
So Apple was like, hey, we're going to take the money that you guys make, a huge percentage. And Epic was like, no, that's not cool.
It's not the Apple. It's Google and Epic Games.
So this must have been another one that I don't know about?
Yeah, this is the Google Store one. Play Store.
I guess I don't know the story.
The judgment was against them. Remember, Epic Games was saying, you're not letting us get access to other payment systems. We have to do it through Google, through the Play Store.
Oh, I thought that was... Okay, so I thought that was through... So it's essentially the same case that they were making with Apple. Just they're doing it on Google. Gotcha.
2 different ones. So right now, Google has to change it, but they're appealing it. So for the next 2 years, while it's playing out, or as long as the appeal is... they're making the changes, but only to American. There's all these disclaimers that the court said, only in the American market. In the article, it shows it, about how you can use a different platform to pay for these services. You don't have to do it through Google, but it's only going to last until I think November of 2027, pending the court judgment at that time. So anyway, I thought we had talked about this, and I just threw it up there as, okay, it's happening.
Epic must be making a lot of money. And little fun fact, I found out that one of my friend's cousins is married to the CEO of Epic Games. I was like, whoa. I was like, no way. So married to the guy that he was like, have you ever heard of the game Fortnite? I was like, yeah. And he goes, yeah, my cousin is married to the guy that owns that company. I was like, oh. I was like, okay. Yeah.
Would they like to come to dinner one night?
Yeah, would they like to come to dinner? But yeah, so I thought that was pretty funny. But I
Yeah.
mean, I wonder what they'll come
Small
up with this.
world.
It's funny because mobile gaming is the number one form of gaming in this world. But I do not know anyone that tells me that they're a mobile gamer. Like I don't know. Like Google Play is just so, I don't want to say useless, but like I can't even imagine playing a game on my phone besides my little crossword puzzles.
I'm just reading what the compliance. Yeah. So basically, you can use an outside pricing app. They will not require the use of Google Play billing and apps distributed on the Google Play Store.
Yeah, so they're required to take less of a cut in store purchases.
Yeah. So they're fighting it until it gets to the Supreme Court. I believe it's supposed to go to the Supreme Court. They have to comply. So enjoy it while it lasts for a couple of years.
Yeah. Speaking of games, let's just stay on that one. Where is it? Rockstar delays GTA 6 again to give players the game they expect and deserve. Now,
I'm so upset about this.
Well, here's us gamers are, because this was supposed to come out in I believe February.
I do believe I
right?
know.
Right?
I remember talking about it.
We talked about it either beginning of this year or end of last year. But there's a little bit of an interesting backstory to this. So apparently, I think this is located out of California. I could be wrong, but the developers tried unionizing, right? And I guess the CEO just went in and started firing them because he knew that they were trying to unionize, which legally you can't do, right? You can't legally fire someone unless you have a reason. Right. So the reason it's delayed is because now they're fighting a lawsuit it's believed that they're fighting a lawsuit against their firing, for one, and two, you have less developers now. So can be a little...
But it does say November, right? I think it is coming out November. Oh, until May?
It was supposed to be May of 2026. Now it's going to be November
of 2026.
Yeah, so it keeps getting delayed 6 months. It was supposed to come out this November, and then it got pushed to February, then May, and then now November, because they want to give us the game that we deserve, when in reality, they laid off a huge amount of, I don't know if huge is the right word, but some important developers that were trying to unionize, and now they're in lawsuits with the company. Like, you can't fire us for this. So
we need one of those crayons, isn't that what it's called? The tape at the bottom. This just in. Santa says there will be no GTA Christmas this year.
Jeez. Yeah, for the other young kids. Yeah.
This just in.
Yeah, so they say it won't be delayed any further, so they expect that this union thing to end, or they'll just hire someone else or whatever they're doing. But yeah, that's kind of the sad news in the gaming world. Just want to let you guys know. You're gonna have to wait a little longer. But speaking of games, Logan Paul's CryptoZoo. We're gonna go way back to almost like when we started the podcast, Mom.
I remember this when I was reading the story. I said, I remember this story.
So Logan, this is arguably what made CoffeeZilla famous, with his deep dive on CryptoZoo. So this was an NFT crypto idea that Logan Paul came up with, which when you really read the story, there's a lot more people involved than just Logan Paul. They wanted to sue Logan or basically people were doing a class action lawsuit against Logan Paul for CryptoZoo. So CryptoZoo was essentially a gamified system of, you give me a token, you get an egg that hatches and makes your own NFT, right? That's kind of the concept. And then basically nothing ever happened with it. He would come in like once a year and say, hey guys, time to launch CryptoZoo, and it never happened. So what ended up happening is now he has his lawsuit after, I think it's been 2 years at least. And essentially, this comes back down to what we say all the time. When you don't have regulations in these cryptos, if you put in $30,000 and you lose it, you can't really go after the guy because the lack of regulations in crypto.
Well, he did one important thing that probably saved his ass. He offered to buy them all back.
Right.
And the person who's suing him, or the handful of people, they refused the offer because
Oh,
they thought they could get more, right?
gotcha.
And I think that helped his case quite a bit, because the terminology they're saying is just puffery. So he wasn't making any sort of commitments to these people. He was just selling it,
Yeah.
selling the idea of it. And the fact that he offered to buy it back so that there would be no damage to the, you always have to, what were your damages? That's part of a case when you sue somebody.
Right.
He offered to buy it back. I think it was like 270 per one, per NFT. And most people took him up on it, but these people didn't. The
Yeah.
ones suing him.
So he did actually pay some people back, but just not
Yeah.
the massive ones that were doing the class action lawsuit. But Matt Sprague brought up a good point, and Matt has pearls of wisdom every now and then. It's a great point in the sense of if you're 21 years old or whatever, and you
Yeah.
want to give $30,000 to Logan Paul for an idea, which at the time these NFTs were brand new, so I kind of get it. But to put all your trust in an influencer who influences things, probably not the best financial decisions. Like, and then again, it's horrible that they lose money, but to Matt Sprague's point, like, if you lose that money, that's on you. You can't blame someone for losing money when you invested in something, right? So, I there was a point in time where I felt bad for these people, and I do in a sense, but it's like, come on, guys. And then you know how many of them are in the same crypto scams in other influencers' cryptos? It's like, guys, how many times are you gonna fall for this? Hawk to a coin.
Yeah, and this goes back to our original article. Daddy, bail me out.
Yeah.
Mommy, bail me out. You invested in something. You're over the age of 21. You made an agreement to do that.
Yeah.
There used to be this idea that buyer beware.
Right.
Do your research. You know how many people were living in shanties because they put all their money in the stock market in the 1920s and it crashed? Nobody's bailing them out. There's no law case. You struggled for years and years and years till the government created jobs. This is the fact, but this is what I'm saying. They're soft. Oh, I made a bad investment. All right, you could sue, but you might lose. And guess what?
Yeah, like that's
$1,000 into it.
But also, like, and here's where I do sympathize with them. If it was any other company that's an IPO, sells something, okay, there's actual like laws behind it. But why would you put $30,000 into something that's not regulated, right? So that's even more of like what are you doing? That's like that's like gambling, and you're essentially gambling on something with less odds than like a poker game.
Right.
So it doesn't, and again, putting in $100 and losing it, that's one thing. But there were people putting in $30,000 to Logan Paul, who at the time, there's really no credentials that he has.
Right.
Like now he does well with crypto to my understanding, but he's not doing that well in the sense of he's got other joint ventures, right? He's got boxing.
If you got the money to do it, it's America. If you want to
Do
blow
it.
it on
Yeah,
something and take
absolutely.
the chance, go right ahead. What you can't do is turn around and cry about it when it doesn't come through.
Right.
They tried to get him on, well, he broke laws, and the judge decided, technically, no. You made a bad investment, and it is what it is. And he offered to buy him back. That was his saving grace.
It's just tough to sympathize. If they couldn't get their money back, it's tough because I'm sure there was a disclosure clause on when you can give your shares back or whatever, or your crypto. Well, no, because you've already bought the cryptos to make the NFT, so you've already paid for the product. I don't know.
He offered to pay. Yeah. He offered to buy it back, which
if they're
not going to happen a lot of times.
Yeah, that's already, you don't see that in other companies. But again, this kind of goes back to, don't put your money into something that's not regulated, because he's always going to win in this case, in the sense of, if there's no regulations, the judge is he doesn't care about your feelings and stuff. He's going to go by the law. And if there's no laws for this crypto stuff yet, stay away from it. That's why every shitcoin on the internet is a rug pull. This is not new information. So that's why, again, maybe you can make the argument Logan peddled it as one thing, but hey, there are CEOs out there that will peddle their bullshit, right?
Yeah.
That's just how it is. So Yeah, hey guys, there's bad people out there. And when you look at the people, I'm not saying Logan Paul's bad, but when you look at the people around him who are also involved in this, some of them were scammers before they even worked with Logan. So Logan should have done his research, which was a lot of the stuff that CoffeeZilla talked about. But again, to your point, do your due diligence. Look at some of these people that are working with him and go, hey, this guy was involved in a multi-million-dollar scam beforehand. Maybe I shouldn't invest. So,
Right.
yeah.
And accept the fact that if you lose, all right, you went to court, but guess what? To your point, it's not a regulated industry.
Yeah.
Get over it. I'm not here to bail you out. Mom and dad's not bail. I mean, this is where I'm like, there's an age. 21 is the consent in this country. Should we now raise it to 26 because you're morons?
Right.
Right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's not an
okay.
either.
Well, yeah. They're young and dumb. Listen, it happens, but don't be.
I don't mean specifically these people. I'm talking about generationally.
Right.
You know, you can't have it both ways. We want 16-year-olds to vote, but you can't get insurance until you don't have to get insurance until you're 26 or 27.
Right.
When am I an adult? When am I not an adult? When can I have a cigarette? When can I drink? When I cannot do these things? And if you do an investment, you got to live with the downside too.
Right. Yeah. And instead of investing, you should get a job. Oh, wait. It's so hard to get a job now because the dirty little secret behind why U.S. grads can't find work and how Trump can end it. So instead of putting your money towards cryptos that don't work, let's put it towards a job. Go ahead.
Well,
Continue.
more of the stuff keeps coming out. And I remember when you were in school, they kept pushing STEM, especially for the girls.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to do STEM. STEM is so important. We need more STEM, especially for the women. Okay. Turns out the government has this nifty little program called the Optional Practical Training Program. An employer gets a 7.65% discount on their FICA. FICA is your federal income tax that you got to pay for employees. It gets deducted from your paycheck, blah, blah, blah. And they have no minimum age requirements when they hire these individuals from outside the country.
Wow.
Okay? And who are they going for? STEM people. So you pushed all these kids into the universities to study STEM and get great jobs in STEM, only to find out, I think it's 30% of them can't even find a job post-graduation. Well, why am I hiring you when I'm getting a total of 50% discount?
That's jobs in general, guys. That's not within their major. That's 30% of college people who graduate are not getting jobs, not even in their field.
That's right.
So, yeah, that's
but
really bad.
Predominantly, they're taking them in the STEM field,
right?
Is what this article is saying. So they're getting a 15% discount because both the employer and the employees, they are exempt from Medicare and Social Security taxes. So every other employer has to pay that for American citizens. Wake up, people. You are getting screwed. Fortunately, there are, yes, Republicans who probably should have known better beforehand, but they're calling out the administration saying this has to stop. You are literally screwing over American citizens, right? They're going to these high-priced colleges, taking out student loans, only to graduate and find out, oh, well, I'm not going to hire you. I could get somebody from another country. I automatically get a 15% discount from them.
Yeah. Wow.
It's just bad business, and it's anti-American. So these are the types of programs. They have to go. They just have to go. And I was explaining to somebody about these H-1B visas, just so people understand. That was a program that was meant for exceptional individuals, meaning, oh, I really need to hire Elon Musk from South Africa. He's not a citizen, but he has this really, great intelligence and could really help me build a rocket for our country. So I'll grant him an H-1B visa. That's the type of person it was meant
not
for,
to get
with
into
specialized skills.
So the reason the H-1B visa started was after World War II. There was all those Nazis that we hired for NASA, right? Because they were like, these guys are really good at their jobs, right? Well, this is a fact. I mean, you could look this up. But then it was
I've never heard this.
Oh, really? Oh, you got like 90% of NASA was founded by Nazis after the war.
Huh.
Yeah. So they did the H-1B visa because then it was easier. Because then instead of smuggling them in as prisoners and saying, hey, you can be a prisoner for life or you can work for us because you guys are really smart. That's basically what they did. So then the H-1B visa kind of came from that because they were like, well, we don't have to smuggle them in. Let's just put them on a visa and then call it a work visa. So that's how they started. Yeah.
Well, and they also highlight the fact that a lot of Chinese students come here on the H-1B visa and they get jobs afterwards. And we're finding many of them, not all, but many of them are
They're
workers
useless.
for the
Oh.
Chinese the Communist Party.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's becoming a fact. They go into our universities and they're finding people all the time, either smuggling in diseases to be studied or taking information out of the country.
Right.
That is they are dedicated to their party over in China, and that's what they do. So, I mean, I know I'm sounding like I'm a
Racist.
wackadoodle, but it's part of that article, and they're finding that that's another reason why they're coming in. Well, it's not really racist. I'm not saying
Yeah,
against
you're not
Asian
wrong.
people.
Yeah, you're not
It's
wrong.
about the Communist Party, and they bring their citizens in, and we allow it. And meanwhile, and we're doing it at the expense of our younger generation. So fast forward back to the original article that we talked about. Now you know why many of them, like somebody who comes in and says, "I'm going to give everybody a job."
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to subsidize your student loans
Don't have to
because
pay
you
for-
can't get a
yeah.
job.
Saying everything that people want to hear, and then the craziest thing to me and why I find it so funny is literally campaigned on free everything, and then the second he wins, he does a commercial and he's like, I know I said all this, but we can't afford it, and I need you guys to give me money. So yeah, it's just hilarious. But anyway, Mom, we just did an hour 3, which I think is a good amount of time. Hit everything, a lot of stuff for the week. So yeah, I'm happy with that one. I think we got through.
got all the articles.
Yeah, we got through everything. Good flow.
Not my coughing though. That didn't.
Yeah, that we got it. Get it under control. Get it together, mother.
Yeah. Getting kicked off the podcast.
Yeah, really. I need a new co-host. Get me a robot. Give me a mom bot, as they call it. Anyway, we'll end it there. The only things I have to promote, obviously, we had the live podcast last week. I posted the full walkthrough for all of Escape Simulator 2's Dracula Castle. So go check that out because it's like an hour long and it was a lot of editing. And then I posted the first speed run for Resident Evil 6 today. So Leon's campaign. Let me tell you, Mom, I did a live stream last night for one of the when you called me last night. Well, we were telling me about the whole AT&T thing, which we don't have to talk about again. I'm in the middle of a speed run and I got you texting me. I got other people texting me and I just couldn't focus. Right. And then the whole time I found out that for some reason something was up with my internet, probably because they're doing all the construction. So literally 3 hours of the speed run's missing. Like I only ended up streaming for an hour. So I had to redo the speed run today and recorded it. And I was man. I'm getting this done because I just want to get done with Resident Evil's built into 4 parts. And I'm like, I just want to get this done. Like, please, I just want to get this off my computer. I've been working on it since October. So, yeah, I was pretty pissed about that. But now the first one's out and then the other 3 will come out throughout the month. And yeah, that's about it. So social media, promo code, stream links, Discord, and we will see you guys next week for the podcast. So,
Happy Veterans Day.
Happy
on
Veterans
Tuesday.
Day. Yes.
Any
Bye,
veterans?
guys.